It's 8 p.m. So we should start now. Archana ma'am, I think it's 8 p.m. So we must start. Okay. Let me start with the intro and then we will continue with the workshop. Good evening to one and all present over here. This is Dr. Shanoli Ray. As the founder and CEO of EdVision, it's my honor to welcome you all to today's insightful online workshop on the impact of screen time on child development. At EdVision, we are deeply committed to fostering a learning environment that not only educates but also empowers individuals to navigate the challenges of today's digital age. Today, we have the privilege of hosting Mrs. Archana Mathur, a distinguished educator and former principal of DAV Riverside School, Ambala Cantonment, and Cecil Convent School, Ambala Cantonment. Mrs. Mathur brings with her a wealth of experience and expertise in understanding the complex dynamics between technology and child development. In this workshop, we will dive into the profound effects of screen time on cognitive development, social skills, and emotional well being in children. Mrs. Mathur will lead us through a thought provoking discussion, providing valuable insights and practical strategies for parents, educators, and caregivers alike. I encourage each of you to actively participate, ask questions, and engage in meaningful dialogue throughout the session. Thank you, and let's make today's workshop an enriching experience for all. Let's welcome Mrs. Archana Mathur on EdVision Online Workshop.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ray, for a wonderful introduction. I'm honored to be here today because it's a very, very elite kind of a platform. I can see lots of educators over here from all over the country and maybe a few from foreign lands as well. You've already told that I have been a principal here in Ambala. We are based here. And besides that, I am a very proud army wife, my husband having retired from the army. And before taking over as principal, I have been a PGT English in different schools. Of course, the army took me to different stations, so I worked in different schools. Today's topic, I'll come later, but first, let me thank you from the very core of my heart for giving me this opportunity to be here on this platform, and to your co-founder also, and anybody else who's instrumental in getting me over here. Of course, that's you, and I'm so lucky to have, found you on one of these workshops a few days ago. So I'll share the screen, my screen, so that I can begin, because it's going to be a little longish kind of a webinar. And thank you all of the viewers who are over here to be with me on this journey today. So without wasting any further time, I will share my screen, and I'll start off with this very important aspect of school children. So I'll have to remove this. Is the complete screen visible, or is it being blocked by this film of the participants?
Yeah, it is visible.
Okay, fine. So today we have a very interesting and very contemporary topic to talk about, that is the impact of screen time on child development, and how does it affect the cognitive, social, and emotional dimensions of growing up children. We people generally think that screen time is only the time which children spend on their mobile phones. But unfortunately, that's wrong. That's a very limited kind of thing that we are thinking of. Okay. So what does actually screen time entail? So this is basically the age of digital dominance. Our children have become digital natives. They are not natives of India or US or Pakistan or somewhere. We have made our children into digital natives. And what all have we given to them? The moment a child is born, he sees everything. Right from the age of 1 month, like there are televisions, there are smartphones, there are computers, there are tablets, there are Kindles, ebooks, you name it, and it's there for them. So obviously the child gets attracted to this, and it's such a strange thing that if you give them a toy phone, they will throw it away. They want a real phone. And I've seen this 20 years ago when my nephew was just about a year old. He refused to take the toy phone. He said, phone chahiye. So this is what is happening. And that was 20 years ago. Now, today, the children have become even more smarter. So now what is screen time? Basically, let's discuss what is screen time. This refers to the total amount of time that we or the children spend using electronic devices which have screens, right? We are not referring to music systems or any other such gadget. We are referring to gadgets which have screens like computer, laptop, tablet, Kindle, e-book reader, and of course, our blessed mobile phones. So as per the current trends and statistics, the screen time has soared very, very high. When mobiles had started, they did not have screens. They were just for talking purposes, to connect with the people. But today, most of us are using mobile phones for more than 6 hours a day, which is not a very healthy sign. Another current trend is the shifting of content consumption. Earlier, phones and television were used basically for entertainment and for getting in touch with our near and dear ones. But today, it has shifted to social media. You have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have, you name it, and there are so many of them that I don't even remember. Of course, WhatsApp. So our shift has been from simply getting in touch with people to showing off. We now want people to see what we are doing. Earlier, it used to be do good and forget it. Today, it is do anything and put it on Facebook, put it on Instagram, make a reel and post it on social media. So this is becoming a very alarming trend. Generational divide is there in the sense that grown-up people like me or you, we spend our time on these digital screen devices for maybe just 3 hours. But if you see the statistics for children, sometimes it goes up to 7.5 hours also for school-going children, which is definitely not a healthy sign. Another thing which has probably, given an impetus to this kind of behavior from children has been the pandemic. During COVID time, schools could not be run, and all the schools had to resort to online classes. Now, this has started a very wrong trend. Even in those days, I remember my colleagues and my relatives who are into teaching, they said that children switch on the computer or their laptop, but they shut off the camera. They switch off the camera, and God knows what they do at that particular time. So parental help at that particular time was important, but the parents were themselves so busy. So because of the pandemic also, there has been a lot of shift from in-person classes to digital media. This is the most important part of this webinar, which I'm going to discuss. Those of us who have a science background would know that whatever we do has a great impact on our brain. Now, before going into that, let me tell you one thing that, whatever we do, our emotions or the reflexes, they are all transmitted through different regions of our body to the brain. And for that, we have nerve cells, which are also known as neurons. I'm sure you all must have heard that. Now, a typical neuron cell a neuron has 3 parts. One is the head, one is the axon, and then there are dendrites. All right. So now these tails do not touch each other, but it's kind of, the stimulus gets transferred to the next one, by some strange phenomenon which is not known to me. And this is synaptogenesis. You know, the transmission of reflexes or stimuli from a particular part of the body to the brain is synaptogenesis. This developing brain of small children, it's a marvel of biological engineering. I mean, God is great. And the way he has designed us all and our brains is something which we need to marvel. During childhood or early childhood, there is a formation of new neural connections, right? But if at that particular time, the children are exposed to so much of blue light, that is, they are on screens or media or on all that, it has a very drastic effect on their cognitive development. Cognitive development, we know, the learning of things, the retention, analysis, and usage of whatever they've learned in their later lives, or even whatever they are doing. So this synaptogenesis is very crucial in the growing stages of a child, because we all know that when a potter also makes something, a vessel or something, it's when it's wet, at that time you can shape it. But once it's dry, it can only break. You cannot change its shape. The same thing is applicable to our growing up children. Whatever they learn, whatever is their cognitive development at the early stages, it cannot be changed towards the end. Okay, now these are the types of effects that blue light has on our body. As you can see on the screen, the memory gets affected. It's difficult to remember things. It's harder to learn. Neurotoxin is released, which is again harmful for the body. Children may go into depression. There's a risk of obesity. There could be cancer. There could be eye problems. So a lot of things, a lot of physical discomfort can result because of screen time. The attention span of children gets very, very drastically affected. They are not able to concentrate. Most of us teachers, we complain that the children are not paying attention. It used to be there earlier as well, but now it has increased manifold. Why? Because the children have lost this not ability, but the interest in classroom study, because they're thinking of something else. So their attention spans have become much shorter, and they cannot focus on the tasks that require sustained concentration. Like if you're doing an experiment in physics or chemistry or biology or for anything else, for any subject, it's not something which can be done in 10 minutes. So if they lose attention, or if they are not able to focus on that particular experiment, they will not be successful in getting the aim or the result which they have been looking for. Because you can't blame the children. We cannot blame the children for this, because it's their poor brain which cannot cope up with this kind of situation. It's not programmed to concentrate and to have a bigger attention span. Now we come to language and literacy development, which is again very crucial when our children are growing up. Usually children, wherever they are, in whatever country, they learn language, which is definitely very important in whatever society you are living. And how do we learn a language? By interaction. The first teacher in every household is the mother. So what children learn at home, that is something which they remember throughout their lives. So it's, of course, the interaction at home and social interaction. When they go out, they meet people, they learn a lot of language. So language development takes place in the early stages of human life. And yes, exploration also. Children go out, they see new things, they come back and question. I'm sure you remember when your children were young, or even if some of us have young children, small children, they are so inquisitive. They come and ask you questions. ये ऐसे क्यों है? इधर light क्यों जल गया? वो रो क्यों रहा था? वो हंस क्यों रहा था? If they're watching something. So this is exploration. We are not talking of space exploration or something. I'm talking about the daily experiences that we all have. So language is something which is learned at a very, very early stage in life. I happened to attend a webinar a few days ago, and there I heard a story about a girl, Ginny, who was forcefully kept captive by her own parents in the house for 12 long years. And when she was finally rescued from that place, she could not talk. They tried to teach her language, but she could not, unfortunately. So this is, I've just given the example to make my point clear that language develops in the early stages. If a child is not able to interact with people or to speak at home, it becomes very difficult for him or her to develop or to have a good vocabulary. So our social media or the screens or whatever we are using today, they hamper or they hinder the language development of children and early literacy development. Literacy here is the ability to read, write, and listen. So, and this literacy definitely empowers you, but unfortunately that gets affected because of excessive screen time. Here I would like to, put one point that screen time is definitely not negative all the time. If we have a judicious use, and I'll keep repeating this, judicious use of screen time can prove to be good and advantageous also. So if we select certain programs which are good enough for a particular stage of children, it's going to help in their learning and cognitive development. So it's we who have to find a balance to show them the screen, show them TV or whatever, the apps and all, and their natural curiosity. How are we going to do it? I'll discuss later. Now we come to the social skills of school children. Abhi, I just spoke about their cognitive development. We are social animals. We all know that. But excessive screen time is taking away this pleasure of being social in our society, and especially with school children. How? Let's see. Social skills are a crucial aspect of childhood development. So what happens is, like when a child is growing, they have interpersonal interaction, but today we have so much of screen viewing. So what happens is, because of interpersonal interaction being replaced by screen intervention, children miss out on a lot of good things. Social skills can be honed or improved through face-to-face interactions. Today we are talking, like I'm talking to you. I don't know where you are sitting. So we are using social media. We are using the Zoom platform to reach out to each other. But will we get to know personally? Is it the same, or does it give the same pleasure as sitting together in a drawing room, having a cup of tea or coffee? No. Face-to-face interactions and this virtual interaction is definitely different. It doesn't give you that personal pleasure. Then kids are not able to navigate conversation. If you've seen on social media also, and I have myself experienced that there are lots of ladies who've been calling me on phone and asking me to give spoken English classes to their children, despite being the children of army officers. In the army, we usually, we converse in English. I mean, not that we do not know Hindi. I can speak very good Hindi as well. But our children are not going out. Earlier, when I was young and my children were small, they would go out and play in the parks, and it was difficult to get them back to their room to study. Today, the mothers have to throw their children out, go play, do something. Don't keep sitting glued to the TV and your computer. Isn't that unfortunate? I feel yes, it is. They are losing out on their childhood. They are losing out on something very, very precious. They will never become children again, however much they may try. They cannot read non-verbal cues. Like I remember when we were children, or when my children were young, I would just sort of, say something through my eyes, and they would understand what is she meaning to say. And the same was in my case. My mother would look at me and I would understand what she's trying to tell me. But today, children will not understand gestures because they've not seen it happening. Also, in the good old times, children would negotiate and build friendships through play. Our parents did not even know who we are playing with. And When I became a parent, I don't know how my children made so many friends. We did not go and supervise you, make friends with him or her or whatever. They themselves had a very, very good set of friends. But today you ask children, how many friends do you have? They'll tell you, I have so many friends on Facebook. There are so many followers on Instagram. What is this? This is not our society, which is a positive thing or which was something positive that we as children have experienced. So friendships are all virtual, and this is something really sad. Real is real, and virtual will always remain virtual. So now if we talk about the young children or the elementary school children, they should go out and do, little dramas like playing pretend, taking turns to doing something and expressing of emotions. They're very crucial for social and emotional development. But today, what are children doing? I'm sure you all would have heard that they try to copy a character called Shaktiman. He would fly from rooftops and do things. And unfortunately, there were incidents where children tried, they wore that costume of Shaktiman and they jumped from their roofs, only either to kill themselves or maybe get severely injured. So this is something which I feel parents should guide their children and let them know that whatever is happening on this platform is all imaginary. It's not something that can take place in reality. So it's very important for us as parents and teachers to tell our children that whatever you see on television is not necessarily true. And if you are sad or lonely, it's something very, very natural. We are human beings and we can have any kind of emotion running in our minds. So excessive screen time, it hinders the ability to navigate real world social situations. They continuously keep living in a virtual world. Now we come to the middle schoolers. In middle school, that is when they come to class 4, 5, 6, their social awareness increases, and for them, their friends become important. But again, when this stage comes, social media and online interactions, they again make them stay back in their rooms and they communicate only through their gadgets. Now, this is something which is not a very healthy sign again. And you all know as grown-ups why I'm saying that. So as an educator myself, I feel that, these children in the middle school, they struggle to interpret emotions, and they are not aware of how to solve or to navigate conflict resolutions. I mean, they cannot find a solution to a problem if it occurs because they're not used to it. They see everything, and for everything, they will go to Google. This has happened. Okay, go to Google. You want to learn a new dish, go to Google, go to YouTube. So we are not making any effort. Whereas in our times, I mean, all of us, I know I have young people in the audience today, but those of us like me who've grown up in the 70s and 80s in the previous century, would vouch for the fact that we learned things from experience. We had no Google. We would go to libraries, we would refer to books. So we worked hard. Today, children are getting everything in a very easy manner. And when you get something easily, or when you get something without paying for it out for free, it holds absolutely no importance. Whatever you earn from your hard work is important, but freebies are definitely not important. They're as easily forgotten as they are gained. So when they get into real life, they find a lot of difficulties because they've been living in a dream world. They have not seen what is reality, and as they grow and as they get to have some responsibilities, it's very difficult for them to shoulder because they do not know what is reality. They've not navigated the real lifetime situations. Teenagers are the ones to suffer the most because this social media creates a lot of pressure. It's like a pressure cooker, How? I'll tell you. If you go onto Facebook, you will see lots of pictures being posted by friends. Somebody's gone to a foreign location, somebody's gone for some very expensive shopping, and they will put it on Facebook. Now, those who come from not so good or not so rich families, as far as finance is concerned, they feel out of place. And this creates a kind of dissatisfaction that why can't I do it? She's bought so much, she's got a new bike, I should also have it, because it's been posted on Facebook or maybe on Instagram or wherever you are following them. So this is a kind of pressure which kills the children from inside because comparisons take place. All of us don't come from a similar background. We come from diverse backgrounds. So this comparison creates social anxiety. Again, teenagers, they prioritize or they give importance to their online relationships over in-person interactions. I'm sure most of us would agree that when we were kids or when in the 70s, 80s, or even in the 90s, we used to have a lot of family functions where everybody would come and hardly anybody paid attention to what you were wearing. Basically, the impetus would be given to being together, to talk, to share experiences, to eat together, have goodies. But today, they'll ask, from which brand have you bought this? Are you wearing a branded watch? Have you got this dress from some designer? So these things have now come up in such a big way that some children feel left out. In-person interactions or personal interactions that we had, cousins, meeting aunts and uncles, it's just gone. It's more of show off. You go to a wedding, earlier we used to stay in one room and chat it. Today, everybody gets different rooms because everyone wants AC, everyone wants comforts. Comforts are there in our own homes. But for 2 days, if we go out, why can't we adjust to something and just be there with our family? No. So children are learning this. Show off, something virtual, and they are being taken away from real life situations and from relationships. So they cannot communicate. Now, if you take a child from today's times to a family gathering, he or she will not be able to talk. Why? Because they don't know what to talk about. They've not shared any experiences. They have not grown up together with the cousins that they are meeting over there. So meaningful connections are not made, which are usually made in childhood. Don't we remember our childhood friends even till date? Yes, we do. And if we meet, we just forget that 20 years have gone by or 30 years have gone by. It's just, the time had probably stood, and we are meeting maybe just after 2 or 3 days. So these little pleasures, this kind of happiness is missing from today's children. They are under a lot of pressure because of comparison, and they need validation. Why do they put up pictures on Facebook and Instagram? Because they want their friends to write comments. Oh, this is so beautiful. Oh, this is so good. When did you go? Share your experiences, put more pictures. So we now need social validation, right? Which is definitely not something to be sorted out. May I request you to mute yourself? Thank you. So this is the age where children are developing. This is the development of empathy and understanding. Lots of people get confused between empathy and sympathy. Sympathy is something where we look down upon something. Oh, this thing happened, some death in the family. So you are sympathetic towards that child or to that person who's lost a family member. But empathy is to be in the shoes of the person and feel what he or she must be feeling. Empathize. You feel what I feel. Okay? This is not sympathy. So this empathy is a very important factor of human lives or human understanding. And this gives you healthy social relationships with the people around you. And how does empathy take place? We can read, we should have the ability to read facial expressions. We should understand the emotions in the tone of voice and respond appropriately, obviously. And all these skills are developed through social interaction. We may think that these things are not important, but yes, they are. Because when our children grow up and they go for interviews for good jobs, these are the things, these are the personality traits which are tested. we do not understand their importance right now, but when our children grow up and they go out into the world, and this is applicable to all age groups, empathy and understanding of the emotions of the other person. We are not animals, we are social animals, and we must understand. In fact, why just we? I've heard even the dogs in my colony, they also sort of communicate in their own language. So why have we stopped communicating? And the answer is just one, a very common answer: screen time. We are so glued, we are so addicted to our gadgets that we don't have time for our friends. And this is what we come to in the next slide. Influence on relationship building. There are reduced opportunities to connect, because for everything you need time. We have 24 hours in a day. And if we spend 12 hours glued to our television or to the mobile phone or to our laptops and computers, where is the time to connect with people? So connectivity is there in terms of transmission, electronic transmission, but connectivity in human relationships is sorely missing, which I feel is not a very healthy trend. Another thing which our screens give rise to is social anxiety, FOMO. I'm sure the new generation understands this better than I do. Fear of missing out. What is happening? They're so, what should I say, excited or so concerned about knowing what is happening in other people's lives that they forget what is happening in their own lives. So this is FOMO, social anxiety, which is not a good trend. Then there are communication challenges. You cannot talk, you cannot write, and communication is not just verbal, it's written also. And here I'll quote a very interesting incident, which I have experienced as a teacher about 12 years ago. I was teaching in a school and I was a PGT. So in class 12, a very, very intelligent boy of the class, who was also the head boy of the school, when he wrote his monthly exam, or it was a term exam only, I was quite horrified to see all those abbreviations written. For THE, he had written D. For something else, he had written something else. So I was like, today was 2, numeral 2 and day. I, being an English teacher, I had to cut his marks, and he was very unhappy with me. Ma'am, you've cut marks. I said, beta, this is not WhatsApp language. I mean, you are appearing for an English paper. So this is what happens. Our children think that even in their exams, they can use the same language, which is not okay. So communication challenges, not just in their verbal expression, but also in written expression, create problems for them. So technology is definitely something we cannot do without technology. I am in Haryana, in Ambala, and we all know that because of that agitation last month, for almost a month, the internet had been put off. It had been switched off. And there was so much of a difficulty because we've got so addicted to getting in touch with people that the loss of internet was like you've lost God knows what from your lives. It was so difficult. Things became so difficult. So technology is definitely something that we need. We now can get in touch with our dear ones who are in foreign countries, and we can have video talks with them. So technology is something which is a very powerful tool. It's there for learning and connection, but we need to know the judicious use of technology. Like we all put sugar in tea and coffee. So, but more of sugar, will it be okay, or less of sugar? Both make your drink tasteless. So there has to be that optimum amount of sugar which should be there in your tea or coffee or beverage or whatever you are having. So what I'm trying to say is that we need to know exactly how much of screen time do we need. We've all got lost in the like of this digital screen time. So the next point over here is, like, we've discussed the cognitive development, we've discussed the social aspect. Now we are coming to the emotional well-being of school children. How does excessive screen time affect the emotional well-being of children? So now emotions are a constant stream, And we also have lots of programs coming on our gadgets. So what happens is that the children get so addicted that one program gets over, they want to see the next one. This one gets over, they want to go to the next one. So this can have a significant negative impact on their emotional well-being. How? We are going to discuss. Now, how can screens affect a child in wrong regulation of emotions and their exposure to harmful content and the potential for screen addiction? I'm sure all of us are addicted to screens by now. Why just blame the children? It's we grown-ups also, and I include myself in this. We are all addicted to screens, unfortunately. So how? Let's see. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage your emotions constructively. And you must have heard people talking about emotional quotient. Emotional quotient is nothing but the ability to control your emotions and manage them, like not getting angry, keeping cool, keeping yourself, balanced. So this is emotional quotient. If it's higher, you are on the better side, but if it's lesser, it's not okay. So we as human beings have to learn to regulate our emotions and not make a social display of our emotions at the drop of a hat. So why does this happen is because there are reduced opportunities to practice. We are not meeting people. We are only getting in touch with them through our screens, through online platforms. So how do you express yourself? When somebody dies in a family, you get lots of messages, condolence messages. But do people really come to your house to be a partner to your sorrow? No. A hand on your shoulder, a friend's comforting hand who holds your hand and says, I am there with you, is something which is totally inexplicable. All the messages on social media will not give you the kind of, I will not say pleasure, but the kind of confidence, and you tend to sort of gain your confidence. You feel that, yes, I'm not alone in this. So these kinds of opportunities somehow are lacking in our social life today. And then there is this fast-paced stimulation. One program over, I want to see this one. So the children get so stimulated that they cannot stop. And unfortunately today, I remember when we were children, there were lots of cartoons which were aired on Doordarshan, and they were all harmless. It was just for fun, and we used to laugh and laugh and laugh. But today, there is so much of bloodshed, there is so much of fighting on screen that children are learning all these things. We as children played hide and seek, we had races, we used to do long jumps, we used to play God knows what, lots of things. But today they go out with guns, shooting somebody, he falls. So I've shot you, I've killed you. Are these really games? What are we teaching our children? So this kind of stimulation, which is towards the negative side, needs to be thought about and controlled. And now whatever these children are doing, they don't want any adult supervision. They say, just leave us, and very openly, they show their discomfort, they show their anger, they disapprove of parental interaction or supervision. How has this happened? How has this transition taken place? Because of addiction to screen time and the blind following of the Western countries. So what happens is, I'll give you a few examples over here. When our children are exposed to screens, this is what they actually see. They get exposed to violence and negative, emotions. So internet is not a very safe place always. Excessive screen time, if children are exposed to, they can get into being cyber bullied. Now, what is cyberbullying? This is something which is a very frightening aspect. And there have been 6 very, very drastic cases in the world, not just in our country, but all over the world, where certain pictures or certain information, which, like suppose I tell you today that this was a mistake that I had done in my childhood. So I am confiding in you. I'm telling my friend that I did this when I was a child, or maybe something silly which I had done. Now, this so-called friend of mine goes and pastes it on social media that when Archana was a young girl, this is what she did. So I'll feel ashamed of myself. And then, or on the other hand, this girl may say, or this friend of mine may say, either you do this for me or I'm going to post this on Facebook. You give me this or I'll put this on Instagram. So you are now being asked for ransom. You have to do something to stop that other person. And this has actually resulted in the death of young children. All right. I won't give names. You can go to Google and see cyberbullying cases in the world. There are 6 very, very important cases which had probably rocked the entire world. So one, okay, I won't take the name. Then, as I just said, there is a lot of violent content on social media. So children, instead of learning good things or just having fun, pure fun, they're learning some things or certain activities or actions which are very, very disastrous, I should rather say. And also there is unrealistic portrayal of things. Okay, like I just mentioned Shaktiman. That was such an unrealistic character. How can a human being fly? Maybe 200 years hence, they develop something or they find out something, they discover a new kind of, uniform or something which they can wear and fly. But as of today, we can only fly in airplanes or whatever air mode of, commutation is there. But as a person today, I, me, or you, or anybody else for that matter, we cannot fly. A lot of unrealistic things are being shown on television and or even on social media. And today, to spoil everything, I mean, it's like it's like, adding rubbing salts to the injury. We have OTT platforms which have come up. So these are not even censored. And all kinds of filthy display is available to our children today. You can't explain anything to them. The kind of movies which are being projected, the way children have started saying certain words which were so taboo about 20 years ago. So wrong precedents are being set for our new generation. Now, what happens, or what is the psychological impact of screen addiction? There will be behavioral changes. There'll be a lot of behavioral problems which will crop up. There'll be increased anxiety and depression. I just informed you about cyberbullying. So anxiety and depression could be for 2 reasons. Firstly, a particular content has been posted which you did not want, or you want to post something but you don't have that necessary material to post on the social media. So either of the 2 cases are going to put you into an anxious state and also depression. Depression, again, as a word, was totally unknown to us when we were children. We didn't know what is depression. But today, I remember as a school principal, I had a lot of parents coming and telling me, so-and-so teacher scolded my child and he or she has gone into depression. A class 2 child going into depression? Unbelievable. Do we actually know what is depression? It's a very, very grave mental disorder. Do not say that a child is under depression. He could be sad. Okay, he could be upset. But depression is a very big term, not to be used in the context of children. Please desist from using this term for children. Then there is sleep disruption. Obviously, we are so addicted to our screens that, and I'm myself a culprit. I cannot sleep till I have read the last of messages on WhatsApp. So what happens is it's not just the sleep which gets disrupted or gets delayed, but also it's very difficult to have that continuous pleasant sleep, which is so very important for good health. Okay, I, as a person who's into this habit, I would plead you and implore you people, do not, before you go off to sleep, do not touch your mobiles for at least an hour. Okay, because not only will it lead you to late night sleeping, but also it's going to give you very, very disturbed and sleepless nights. Attention deficit, yes, you cannot pay attention because, like if I'm doing something, even if I'm cooking, my mind is, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm just giving an example, that if I'm cooking in the kitchen, my eyes are on the clock. My program is supposed to come, or there is some meeting which has to happen. So I forget about cooking a delicious meal for my family. I'm more interested in what is going to happen on the social media or on the television just a few moments later. This is definitely not healthy. This is not good. So to sum up, the emotional well-being, as I mentioned, technology is important. We cannot do away with technology, especially at this point of time. But it's also important to promote healthy habits. So what do? We have to set clear screen time limits. That is for smaller children. And this has to start very early in life. Again, as a principal, I've heard lots of parents coming and telling me, ma'am, ये तो हमारी सुनता ही नहीं है, ये तो हमारी सुनती ही नहीं है, ये तो कोई बात ही नहीं मानते. क्यों? Why? Why don't your children listen to you? It's a big question I want to ask the parents of today. Didn't we listen to our parents? Didn't you as children listen to your parents? Then how and why has it happened that your children are not listening to you? So you have to start very early. Do not spoil them. Please make them understand that they are children and your parents. They are the best things that could happen to you in your lives. And over and above the love and concern you have for your children, tell them that they have to have a very, very limited screen time. Maybe 1 hour, maybe 1.5 hours, but not more than that for smaller children. As they grow up and they need to find out things on Google, then supervise. What are they actually watching? Is the content okay enough for them? So, and also over and above this, you have to prioritize screen-free activities. As a family, do something, have an activity, play carom board, play cards, do something, or just say, okay, today let's, as a family, cook dinner for all of us. And I'm sure your children are going to enjoy. For ladies, the husbands will enjoy, and for husbands, your wives, of course, will enjoy. So have a family activity. Prioritize activities which are screen-free. Okay, just have a quiz. Play Antakshari, okay? Or play a game where a word building kind of a game. You don't need any equipment for that. You just have to sit together and play. And I definitely can say that you as a family are going to enjoy this time and you'll remember it all through your lives. Also, there should be an open communication about online experiences. All of those children who committed suicide because of being degraded on social media, they did not come and share this with their parents. Had they shared, all these precious lives could have been saved. So whatever experiences they are having, please promote open communication amongst your children, whether they are your children or they are your students. You must make them understand that you are their real well-wisher. And if there's any kind of problem, they should come and talk about it to you. Because when they talk to you, they open up with you, a lot of mental burden gets off their minds. And they're small children, right? They're small children. We should not expect so much from them. So if they come to you or you encourage this kind of an activity, if they have any kind of problem, especially online, they must come and report immediately because the culprit needs to be caught and put in the right place. So time limit has to be set, explore other things than screen time, and speak to each other, share your feelings. So the strategy for healthy screen time is unplug, okay? Put your mobiles away, especially when you're having your meals. I saw a short video on WhatsApp that the lady doesn't serve dinner to her family till they all put their mobile phones in a tray somewhere. So this is something which we all need to do, that when we are sitting together as a family, we should put our phones on the silent mode and just keep it away. If there is some problem, people can call you on your landline phone. So now if we have to use screens, then we should incorporate educational content. A lot of publishers today, whatever they are printing in their books, they also have animated stories which can be played. Okay, so you have a hard copy of the book with you, and you also have a soft copy. So that soft copy can be opened up on your personal computer, and the children can actually see a story being enacted. They can hear how words are to be pronounced. They can hear how voice modulation is to be done. So this kind of educational content is good, something where they can hear and then speak. So their pronunciation gets improved. They know what exactly was wrong in their speech and how it is to be spoken. So when they record their speech and they hear their speech, then they get to know, okay, this is how I speak, but this is the way it should be actually spoken. So educational content should be incorporated in the screen time. Then co-viewing and discussion of screen content should be there. If children are watching something, even if you are not necessarily sitting over there, just keep a watchful eye on them, or of course, if they like it, you can just sit together and you can discuss what is happening. And children love to do this. You can, if it's something that can be paused, if you're watching it on YouTube or you're watching it on a Fire Stick or something, you can pause the program and discuss and then resume again. Outdoor activities and physical activities definitely need to be promoted because it takes you away from the screen and it makes you breathe fresh air. That is something so very important for the purification of blood. There are unlimited possibilities outside. You just need to go out and explore. And you don't need equipment to play games. If you are playing hide and seek, do you need something? No, just about, a handkerchief to tie the eyes of the dead. I remember we used to play, there's so many things. We use stones to play and all that. So, and it's not just games. Suppose your children are doing something in biology. Okay, I'll give you examples from science. They're learning the venation on leaves. Okay, so there are two types of leaves which come from monocot seeds or from dicot seeds. So the leaves are different. Okay, some may have veins which are parallel to each other. Some are those which are bifurcating from the midrib. So you tell your children, okay, you're going to the park, go and collect 5 types of leaves of each kinds. So they'll go and explore, and it's not just they get in touch with the plants, they get good air, they get oxygen from them, but they also get to collect things which can be then put in a scrapbook. So there are lots of activities. Now, okay, this was biology. Take, for example, something in physics. Okay, you use a magnet, you hang it from a bar magnet, I'm saying. Hang it from a thread from the middle, tie it from the middle, and it'll come to stay in the north-south position, right? So then tell them that this is the geographical magnetic field of the Earth. North is where the North Pole is pointing and south is. So this is the magnetic north and the magnetic south. Children will be really interested in these kinds of activities. In chemistry, there's so much you can do. You can make them smell a rotten egg and tell them this is H2S. This is hydrogen sulfide. It's a gas which is made up of hydrogen and sulfur. So whatever is there around you, from bananas or from flowers or whatever, there is so much you can teach your children from the things around you. There are uncountable activities that can be done other than screen viewing. So as parents and teachers and educators, what all can we do? We need to guide our children and counsel them. So a lot of orientation classes can be done. We must promote group activities in class because individually they are staying at home. So as teachers, we can make groups of children depending on whatever subject we are taking and give them a particular activity to do. For example, when I, being an English teacher, I would tell them to make a poster on a relevant issue, like don't cut trees. So somebody would just paint, another would think about a slogan, another would think of, what all material they can use, which is not harmful to the environment. So this was in English. But in other subjects, you can do whatever. I will not say much because I'm not an authority on that. So a lot of group activities can be promoted in class. Healthy competitions can be arranged, and picnics, of course, they really enjoy, because again, they can go out and explore the world. And competitions, not necessarily where you have to make charts and models and all. You can have very normal kind of competitions in the class, like just a minute or half a minute. Ask the children to come and pick up a slip. There is something written on it, and let them speak for half a minute. So it's ham and jam, just a minute or half a minute. Again, you can draw something on the blackboard and ask a student to just stand up and say what's the first thought when you see this particular shape or this particular word. So they will connect it. Like if suppose I write moon on the blackboard, the children will say, maybe today's children will say that 4 Indians are being sent on the moon very soon. Or the first man to step on the moon was Yuri Gagarin. I hope I'm not wrong. So, but whatever the child may say, even if it's a wrong answer, please accept it. You don't have to tell him or her you're wrong. Okay, fine, good. You said something. So what are we actually trying to aim at is that you have to get something out of the child. You have to elicit something from the child's mouth or face. All right. So this was one, healthy competitions. It could be just about anything. You can have very, very healthy debates in the classroom also. You can have projects and exhibitions. And again, these exhibitions are not something where a lot of money needs to be put up. You can just say, let's have, an exhibition on the different states of India. So you wear dress and put pictures of the places which are there in that particular state, or what kind of agriculture is there, what kind of industries are there. So just make charts and put them up. So these kinds of projects and exhibitions will take their minds away from screens. Sports and games are, it goes without saying, they're very important for their physical growth also. So try and promote a lot of sports and games in your schools. Let them play anything. It could be simply running. It could be some kind of jump. It could be badminton. It could be basketball. It could be a throw ball or volleyball or anything at all which your school can cater to. Hockey also, skating. There are so many things which schools are having today. As parents, how do we guide and support our children? We must have open communication, I just said, about screen time and other matters of importance. This is one thing which, as parents, you, me, or anybody has to inculcate, that whatever may happen in your child's lives, they must come and tell you, especially if it is something which is bothering them. Happy instances also they should share, and something which is not so happy also should be shared. And how will this happen? You have to set an example. You share your happiness or sadness with your children. If suppose you're having a headache and you're not able to get up, let your child know, today, beta, I'm having a little headache. Can you serve lunch to yourself? The child will do it. They must empathize with you. They must understand that mommy also can fall sick. She's not a robo. She also is a human being who has her small little problems, physical problems. So be very open about it and share your ideas with your children, open up with them so that they come and open up with you also. Modeling healthy screen habits, again, whatever you do, your children will copy. There was a lady traveling in a train and she was reading a book, and her child also sitting next to her was reading a book. So somebody asked, a co-passenger asked, ma'am, your child is reading a book. She said, yes. How have you done this? She said, because I read. If she had been using a mobile phone, the child would have done the same thing. He would have followed suit. So whatever we do, we are the first heroes of our children. We are their role models. So whatever we want our children to do, we have to do it ourselves first. We have to set a precedent for them. So hang up your phones, stop scrolling, and detox yourself digitally. So you, when you start, आप जहां से खड़े होंगे, लाइन वहीं से शुरू होगी, अमित जी की तरह. So when you set up a pretext, when you set a precedent, your children will surely do, because they will follow you. You are their role model. And if things are out of control, when you think that it's really beyond your control, then you can take professional help. There are lots of counselors, there are psychologists who know how to deal with children who have emotional problems. So to sign off, I hope I'm on time. So as we navigate the digital landscape, it's very important for us to understand a few things. Firstly, the relationship between screen time and child development. I just mentioned there are so many different things which happen. We necessarily do not experience, but it does happen in the background. So let us understand that if we subject our children to more of screen time, then how is it going to hamper their development, cognitive, social, and emotional? So these dimensions are very important for all human beings to grow, to become responsible, to become, intelligent and forbearing, and of course, to come out with new innovations. So if we nurture our children and all these developments are fostered by whatever way that we can do, we as elders must do it. So let's empower parents, educators, and caregivers to make informed decisions. Children should be informed. If you do this, this is going to happen. Because lots of things they do in innocence. As they grow, they learn. But when they are small children, they are innocent. They do not know what is wrong or right for them. So it's we, the elders, who have to guide them accordingly for their holistic development, for their well-being in this digital age, which is doing more harm to them than good. So thank you, everyone. That was what I had to say. So I hope I was able to put my point across to all of you. And I'm open to questions. If you wish to, you're most welcome.
That was very insightful, actually.
Thank you.
Anybody want to ask any question? Or any discussion, your feedback?
It was
as parent or as a educator, as teacher, how do you engage the children? You can share your views also.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Vandana.
Yeah, ma'am, this is me. Actually, ma'am, I am also a human development faculty of home science.
Okay.
Sometimes we find very difficult when we deal with children. I have also a son of 6.5 years old, but sometimes we find that we should give mobile, then only he will do work. Or so that time, what should we do? Because to manage job and then coming back to home,
Yes.
then sometimes it is very difficult, ma'am, actually. So as a faculty also,
Okay.
it is proved also, means I have asked so many persons, then they are giving mobile to their children,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
being known to the consequences of this using mobile.
Yes.
So in that situation, what should we do?
Ma'am, as I just mentioned, I also gave example of my own nephew. He was barely a year old, but he knew the difference between a real and a fake mobile. So that was also playing some tunes. See, we again, like as I said, that we have to set up an example for our children. So you start doing activities with the child. You get them some activity books where they join dots, and then suddenly they discover that it has got into a particular shape of an animal or maybe a fruit, and then let them color. Promote a lot of activities. If you go to Google, you will find a lot of activities. Like I saw my teachers, my playgroup teachers and my teachers of classes, nursery, nursery, LKG and UKG, they would get fingerprinting done. So either they made flowers with their fingers, or they would make caterpillars. Then they would have a lot of dramatization of a particular story in the class, or they would just make the child say something. So you do a lot of communication. The children are themselves very tired. when they come back from school. So if you engage in fruitful and meaningful conversation with them and do activities with them of their interest, okay, play something, play a board game, make them understand the nuances of, say,
Yeah, ma'am, you are
till
very true. But what happens actually because of this peer group? His friends say ki this is the new game, it has come. Okay, this is the Supra game car. So that
Yes.
time he want to know actually the technology is good actually. Everyone should be acknowledged with the technology. But the time they spend, that is very important actually.
That's what I said, no, ma'am, that we as parents, we have to tell them, see, we are letting you do this. So it has to be mutual. I'm listening to you, you listen to me. It cannot be your way all the time. So there's a difference between being strict and being firm. Don't be strict, don't be rude with your child, make them understand. Again, communication plays a very, very big role in this. If you make the child understand that yes, play is important and your friends are doing it, but if you continue to do it for a longer time, you will suffer in so many ways. Firstly, you will waste your time, you will get nothing. You're not learning anything, you're only using your fingers, right? Secondly, this same time can be used for physical, and in this you'll have to get the other mothers also involved. You make a group and all of you try to incorporate this for all your children who are friends. If they are friends, you also become friends, you also make a group, and all of you, when you try and you make your children understand. Now how successful you will be, I don't know, because in my time it was different. My time, when my children were small, they listened to us. They were very obedient because that time technology had not come. Yes, my younger son used to play a lot of video games, but again, I bought a lot of things for him, but I ensured that he does not use them for more than an hour. He was supposed to go out to play in the evenings, right? So somewhere we have to be firm, not rude. Again, I'll insist, be firm, make them understand whatever you are doing is for their good. So you have to be a very good communicator. Unless you make the child understand that it is for their good, they will not do it. How you do it, how your child understands is again something very personal, but you have to convey this to the child that if you continue to do this, you are going to suffer, not just physically, but in many other ways. So that as a mother, I can say.
Yeah, very true, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have started this technique that he is doing this. He has started that timer. I will see for 20 minutes or 15 minutes. So this way we have started dealing with him. So
So if you make a group, no, ma'am, I think that's going to be very fruitful. Like mothers also make a group and you all can, talk and decide onto something. You all get together and arrange for some kind of outdoor activity. Take them out on a picnic. Once or twice they'll go, they'll start enjoying it. See, when we give them options, suppose I like something. Suppose I like Rajma Chawal. But if somebody feeds me Rajma Chawal for a month, I'll start hating it. Okay, I'll explore for something which is new. So if we take our children out and make them experience something which is better, something which is good, and they also start enjoying, I'm sure slowly you have to wean away. Like when a small child grows up, you wean him away from milk, from bottles, and slowly we teach them to drink milk from glass. Similarly, we have to, the children are growing. So we as mothers and teachers and educators, we have to wean them away from wrong habits. And it has to be done very judiciously. The same thing cannot be applied to all the children. They're all different. They're all unique. So one technique, if it is there for my child, may not suit yours. So you have to devise your own way. But these are the ways that you can do. Outdoor activities, socializing, in reality, in person. They will start enjoying being together. Harbinder ma'am wants to say something. You've raised your hand.
Ma'am, actually, I want to know how much time is called as a this healthy screen time, ma'am.
Not more than an hour for a small child. But as they go into their school and they have to do their projects and homework, etc., Sometimes they have to submit online also their homework. So that
Yes.
can be judiciously used, but it should not increase more than, I think, 2.5 hours.
2 to
Anything
12.
beyond that is not okay. 6, 7 hours, which our children are putting today, is wrong. All right.
Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, ma'am.
According to the recent survey, 6, 7 hours are very, very harmful. So if we limit ourselves to 1.5 hours of screen time, that would be good. But again, some people, like my own children who are working in the corporate world, they sit on their computers for 10 hours because their clients are sitting in the United States, or maybe in the UK, or maybe in Australia. So they have to work as per those hours. So when it comes to their profession, you can't say anything. But here we are basically talking about students and young children. So their screen time has to be monitored and it has to be reduced as much as possible. Thank you, Arvinder ma'am.
Anybody
Anyone
else?
else?
I would like to suggest one thing to, like Dr. Vandana was telling about, after the day's work, might be parents sometimes get tired. So we, as because we all are working, the same thing happens to us. So in that, if you are forming in a group of mothers or parents, you can involve all the children for dance classes, music classes together. In that way, they will enjoy also, and they will do some other kind of activity rather than sitting in a place watching cartoons or other. So you can think about that also. So,
Yes, definitely, ma'am, definitely.
Great idea. Very nice. Because music, dance, it relieves you of a lot of stress. I also personally feel that music, whatever kind of music a child enjoys, and I'm sure they all love to dance.
yes.
You see them on reality television, they are so talented. I mean, there's so many things which children do today, which we couldn't have thought of as kids.
Even in school, as because I also work as a principal, so this is our favorite activity actually. When we found that there is no teacher or something like this, students, we just engage the students, play any kind of music and ask them to dance. You can find that students enjoy very much, and yeah, that some kind of activity happens with
Yes.
them. That is the thing.
And another thing I feel like when teachers, they enter their class, especially I'm talking about the preschool children and the pre-primary section, they can be taken to do yoga, just the breathing exercises, and make them, they'll enjoy. Because a long time ago, about 15 years ago, when I was the principal of a nursery school, my pre-primary teacher, I mean, that was pre-nursery, where they were, I think, toddlers, just about 2 years old. They performed such wonderful yoga under their teacher, right? So it's how we groom them. They are like soft clay. It's we who have to groom them. So I'm sure we all grown-up people, we know what education is all about. So we can all help that way.
Yes. So one thing I like to mention that in the group, I'll share the feedback form for today's session. Those who have attended, kindly fill the feedback form, and we will also upload the videos. So those who are already associated with admission, you know that we upload most of the training programs on our YouTube channel, so that later on you can refer that and share with others if you wish. Anyone else want to share your feedback or? So in that case, I think let us wind up for today, tonight. actually. And we will be coming up with a series of workshops on child development and child psychology on in the upcoming weeks. So gradually we'll get notified about our next workshop. And thank you so much for being associated with our platform. Thank you all. Thank you, Archana ma'am. It is wonderful to get connected with you, actually.
My pleasure and my honor. And I'm sure we together can do many good things. And I'm very passionate about education. And I'm glad I could get in touch with you. Thank you so much for giving me this platform. Really,
And yeah, very soon we'll have your next session also on some other topic.
Sure, ma'am. My pleasure.
Okay.
So, signing off. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
once
all.
again.
Good night and happy Sunday for tomorrow.
Thank you. Happy
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night.